Tried to say was the players get dependent.
Tell them you please go and play.
In the night also, just 4-5 hours.
Yes, just take help of the experts because they
The
can.
feedback the parents give to the
These talks
Yes, the
between.
parent plays the most important role in a sportsman or players.
See, the belief that sports academics.
comfort zone and
See, every day there are so many things.
Coach Tipasa, who always motivated me.
there were other riders also.
Do 70% of my sessions for preparing on my strength.
Like the physical fitness is very crucial when you are actually playing in a tournament.
I think one of the key things is that be courageous.
So devotion is, I think, a much greater level of dedication.
Reason is my family upbringing and family background. So that
the coach has a different mindset.
That protein supplementation, and there are several ways to.
Everybody has a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind.
The motto is not to be the first Indian or the
come
best.
to my country, to Viman, and play as junior.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sport Champ Live Talk Show, a live journey of an athlete. I'm Bhushan Thakur, founder and editor-in-chief of Sport Champ, a sports education magazine, and your host for today's live talk show. We are happy to start an exclusive series on Indian table tennis heroes, where I'll be having the privilege and honor to interact with Indian table tennis heroes and legends who have made us all proud in national and international arena. And we are hopeful that this exclusive series will guide and inspire many young and upcoming champions of India. Today, we have a very special guest with us, a hero and a legend in the field of table tennis, Indu Puri madam, a left-handed player from Delhi who have made India proud in many international tournaments, who had the distinction of defeating reigning world champion Park Yoon-sung of North Korea at the Asian Championship in 1978, represented India in 43 international championships as a lead player continuously from 1973 to 1985, and has won 38 international medals between 1973 to 1985. She secured the highest ranked Indian woman in international rankings, number 2 in Commonwealth in 1981, number 8 in Asia in 1982, and number 63 in world ranking in 1985. In the national arena, she has won 26 national titles. She has won national women's singles title for a record-breaking 8 times, including 6 times in a row. She has also won national women's double title 6 times, national mixed doubles title 6 times, national women's teams title 6 times. Had received Arjuna Award in 1981 and also coached the Indian team at the Olympics and other international tournaments. Won a silver medal in World Veterans Championship in 2000, several years after her retirement from international arena. The only national champion and Arjuna Awardee who have completed international umpires examination and also worked as a chairperson of the selection committee for Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, Arjuna Award, and Dhyan Chand Award 2009, and also completed Olympic Committee Solidarity course. Welcome to the show, ma'am. It's a privilege to have you with us. And
thank you, Bhushan.
Thank you for accepting my invitation too. Madam, you have almost touched all the major areas of sports. First, as a player, made amazing record. Then, as a coach, you worked with Indian team for Olympics. Also completed international umpire course. Then, silver medal in the World Veterans event after retiring. Then, as a sports official, headed as a chairperson in selection committee of the greatest awards. In every area, you have achieved great accomplishment. How are you able to plan and achieve this? And what is left now you are aiming for?
No, I'm not aiming for anything. I have retired long ago, and mentally also I'm off sports totally. So I'm just leading a quiet, retired life. So in fact, I was wondering how you remembered me and got me out, as my favorite saying is, कि डूबे हुए सूरज को कोई नमस्कार नहीं करता. But nevertheless, I'm grateful to you for calling me here today and giving me a chance to interact with you and so many of our viewers.
It will be definitely a pleasure, and a lot of people will get guided with this, ma'am. And my first question to you, ma'am, is that tell us something about your childhood and how did you get into table tennis?
Well, I got into table tennis by chance. We used to live in Calcutta, and my father used to work in the jute mills. So we were staying in the jute mill campuses. They are huge campuses like you have now for the army or the railways or the police force, etc. So there we had all the games facilities, and I used to play almost all the games. And table tennis also, I used to play time pass in the club over there. And while just playing like that, one day I was playing an inter-school tournament, and it was there that one of the Bengal state women players saw me playing the inter-school, and she thought that I had some promise in me. So she told my teacher to tell my parents to put me into competition and tournaments. And that's how I started. We didn't really know what is competition, what are tournaments. We were unaware of everything. I used to just play as a recreation. But anyway, we found out, and that's how I started playing table tennis tournaments.
So what was your used to be your parents' role in making a champion? Like nowadays, you know that the parents' involvement is too high. So how they used to support you?
Well, I don't think any sportsman can achieve anything without family support. And my father was a sportsman. He used to basically play hockey, but he was very fond of sports, and he wanted his children to do play sport. Just play sport. Need not be anything. Just play sport. So that is how he taught me initially. For many years, he taught me, and well, that was the role. My mother also encouraged me a lot, and they encouraged me in every way.
And who was your mentor or coach, ma'am? And how in the beginning?
Bhushan, those days there was no concept of mentor or coach. As I said, for many years it was my father only who used to coach me, and I had no coach. Mental training, I don't know what it was or what it is, and it was only in 1980, before the Asian Games, when the Park Yu-gil of North Korea came here to coach the Indian team. That was the first time I really got formal coaching.
Okay. But what used to be your training schedule during your training days? Like I've heard from some players from Delhi, like Harsh Chopra, that in the morning, at whether it's cold or in Delhi it used to be too cold, but 6 o'clock in the morning, Indu madam will be there in her scooty, and she will be always attending the entire session on time. So how you used to plan those sessions in the beginning?
Well, that's true. Well, as I said, initially I was in Calcutta, but since the weather there didn't suit me, it was very humid. And so I shifted to Delhi and stayed with my maternal uncle for many years. They also really encouraged me to play. And I was living in Connaught Place, and the National Stadium was the center in Delhi, not very far away. So I used to catch a bus and go there. And then after some years, I realized, yeah, half my life is going to go standing at the bus stop and waiting for the bus and wasting so much of time. So then I bought a Luna, and my mother was still in Calcutta, and she was very hesitant, going on Delhi roads on your Luna. But then nevertheless, I stuck to it. And that is true. Summer, winter, or monsoon, whatever. Early in the morning on my Luna, I used to go to National Stadium and practice there for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then go to office.
So, ma'am, for the youngsters right now, they need to know this. My next question for you is, what used to be your ultimate goal before starting your training? Any pre-planning of targets before training, or monitoring of the same and analyzing of the same after the session? So, how you used to do that during your training sessions?
Bhushan, there's a sea change, a revolution in sports since I played and now. There was no concept of this. At least I never had anything like planning or analyzing or video to have them. It was not there. But nothing of the sort. I would just go every day and practice religiously. That's all I did. And the aim also was not very just, to become national champion. That was the aim, as it still is with most players. The first aim always is to become the national champion, and that was the aim. And also probably the only aim was that, okay, by the end of this year I have to beat so and so player. That's what it was limited to. But I think the only thing I did was just go and play every day without thinking of all these things which are currently in vogue. One plans and analyzes and thinks long and high, which of course should be done, but that concept was not there, and I think I never did anything like that.
So, if you have to consider a secret a success of you about yourself, a secret of your training, what will you consider that? Like that, this is one of my secret that of training I used to do, which others was not able to, or that was only you are able to do it. Anything on those lines?
No, nothing like that. I think one must do one's hard work and practice religiously. It is not necessary to play a certain number of hours, because I feel it is the quality of practice that matters, not the quantity of practice.
Correct.
And success, of course, is not directly proportionate to the amount of hard work you do. There are many other factors which come into play. And well, number one is the inherent talent in each player. That, of course, has to be there. Then the amount of hard work you do. And the biggest thing which most people forget is God's grace. Without that, I think nothing moves. Because you would have seen, and all of us have seen, life is so uncertain, even sports is so uncertain. Sometimes you feel there's no player who hasn't had ups and downs in life. You have your careers going up and then going down, or you win from a losing position, or you lose from a winning position. Things like that. That always happens with everybody. And sometimes you see very talented players not living up to their promise, or you find mediocre talented people achieving great heights. So it's all a combination of everything. So I would just say, well, I must have had some talent in me, so that lady who discovered me said that, oh, she has some talent, please put her in competition. And of course, my hard work. And the biggest thing, of course, is God's grace.
Correct. How you used to handle your pressures? Like for the youngsters nowadays, what we are seeing, the handling of the pressure is too high. So at your times when you used to play a match after losing a match or winning a match, and before going for a match, you must be having the pressures, but there is a way of handling the pressures. So what will be the guidance of you to the young upcoming champions?
I think this is a very difficult question and easier said than done. Of course, I was myself a very tense person, and I am a very tense person. And tension is always there, pressure is always there. But at the same time, if you don't have tension or pressure to a certain extent, you cannot perform well. One cannot perform if one is very casual in attitude. Some amount of tension and pressure is but natural and normal. So like I remember that saying, General Manekshaw said, if a person says that he's not scared of death, he's definitely either lying or he's a Gorkha. So similarly, I would say that if a sportsman says he's not had tension or pressure for anything, then I don't think that's the complete truth. But well, to deal with it, you try to calm yourself down and you try to say, well, play each match as it comes. And, you just have to talk to yourself and try to somehow yourself. I don't think I did anything other than that.
How was your experience after defeating the reigning world champion Park Yu-sing from North Korea in the Asians? Tell us something about that match.
Well, that match, actually, it's like a dream. When we landed at the airport at Kuala Lumpur, then we got into the bus and we all got a copy of the draw. and they saw that I'm in the, we had initially a group system, a league in the beginning, and then the winner of that league would go into the knockout stage. So I had to play the world champion in the league itself. There were, I think, 3 of us. And so when we saw the draw, so jokingly, some of my teammates said, very good. So you will be out early, so you will have a lot of time to do sightseeing, etc. So, well, that was it. I also thought it would be like that. But then when my match came, it was at 9 in the morning. And that was my league match with her. And it so happened that as the match progressed, I found that what I was doing or what strategy I was using, and she was a bit uncomfortable with it, and she was getting caught there. And so, well, then I kept on playing aggressively and catching her there where I found her weakness. And the match was over even before the spectators had come, or even before the press had come, before anybody knew anything. I think by about 9:30 the match was over. So, well, that's it.
But when you say, ma'am, that strategy you have applied, or the strategy what was happening, how you prepare strategies, like for a match, during the practice session, you must be training those strategies, or how do you do that?
No, it was not really like that. Well, she was a penholder player, and she was twice world champion at that time. And as the match progressed, I mean, as we just got along, it's not that I had prepared anything much before that, or like, as I said, all that was not there that time. But as we played a few points and as the match progressed, I found that, yes, she's getting stuck at a particular angle at the backhand or wherever. I don't remember now, that was ages. And that's the path which I pursued after that.
Okay. What was your initial struggles, ma'am, on your journey of becoming a champion, and what was a special thing in you as which your competitors lack?
Well, I won't say my competitors lack, but the initial struggle was, like I said, I was in Calcutta, and I was staying in Howrah, which is a suburb of Calcutta, which is across the river Hooghly. So we were staying in the jute mills. So I used to catch the steamer, cross the river, go to the other side in Calcutta, catch a bus, and then go to the only practice table tennis center was the YMCA on Chaurangi. And we had 2 tables there, and there were lots and lots of players. So I was just trying to think today about those days, and there were lots of players there. So the system there was each pair played, 2 players played for 15 minutes. So you play for 15 minutes and only, which now seems, I find it hard to believe. So you play for 15 minutes and then you move away, and then the next 2 players come and practice. So depending on the number of people waiting, so you may get your next 15 minutes after an hour, or maybe after an hour and a half, or maybe after 2 hours, whatever. But that was the system. Or winner to stay. So whoever wins that one game only, he stays and the loser moves away. So that also by rotation you play. It's very hard like that to play 15 minutes and then move away and 15 minutes. And then equipment, of course, there was no equipment. I initially started with that what we call rubber rackets. They didn't have a sponge in it. It was just plain rubber. So when I started with that. And after that, there was a NIS chief coach. He once came to Calcutta and he saw me playing. And then he said that if you want to become a player, you'll have to get proper equipment. This is not the way to play. So then I borrowed a second-hand racket from somebody. And that's how the first time I played with a sponge racket, which we call now the proper rubber racket, the way we play, the sponge rubber. And that's how I started playing. And they were very hard to get. Used to change rubber once a year. I used to initially change my rubber once a year. And even when I came to Delhi, there was this one boy, we used to give him money, and he used to buy those postal stamps from the post office, send them to Japan. and they would send back the Yasaka or butterfly rubbers, and that we would stick. So, those were the days where equipment was really hard to get.
Correct. Ma'am, the winning 8 times women's title, which is still a record. I guess it's not yet broken by anyone. So how was that journey? Like, did you plan for the same, or it was one title at a time? So that entire journey of 8 times, and then also multiple medals which you have won. So how was that journey of 8 titles?
As I said, God's grace, I would say. Well, initially, when I was in Calcutta, I was a very sickly person, and I would initially, during the start of my career, I missed some nationals due to sickness. Some nationals I played with severe illness, and it was then only that I decided to shift to Delhi. And when I shifted to Delhi, my health improved and my career also improved. And it was here in Delhi that I learned what is physical fitness. I had never done physical fitness in Calcutta ever. And here, playing in National Stadium, and they have a beautiful athletics track. So there I was, that was the first time I started running and jogging, and the fellow players would tell me that you must jog, you must run, otherwise you must improve your fitness and things like that. And that's how it started. And well, as I said, my only aim was the nationals. So as Manmeet Singh, poor chap, is no more, and he used to always make fun of me and say, one nationals is over and she's thinking of the next nationals. So that was my target, was only the nationals, and my focus was only on the nationals, because foreign exposure was not there at all at that time. We used to go abroad only once a year, Commonwealth Championship and World Championship in 1 year and Asian Championship in the other year. So once a year, alternate, that used to be once in 2 years. So only once a year we got a chance to go abroad. And I would often think that I wish if we could come more and I would get more exposure to play with foreign players, I would probably do better. And it was only before Asian Games here in '82 that the government gave us a lot of opportunity to go abroad and practice.
Ma'am, can you just brief a little bit more about that focus which you mentioned, that after one national you won and then immediately you start preparing for the next national? How you get that focus? Because it is there, it is not that easy. And for the young generation and for the audience and also the young players to know how to keep that focus consistently, because to keep it for a certain period of a time, for a short period, it is easy. But to keep it for a longer period of a time, how you used to manage that?
Well, I really don't know, but that was all. As I said, I was just very regular in my practice, and I used to say, well, I have to, play, take each day as it comes. And of course, the target, yeah, that is true. That mental focus was definitely there. And well, how it was there, I can't really tell you, but that focus was there on the nationals. And I even remember there was a foreign trip to the Scandinavian countries. There was some championship or something on about a month before some nationals. I don't remember which nationals, but I opted out of the team. I didn't go there because I wanted to be in practice and prepare for the nationals. Because once you go abroad, going, coming, playing a tournament, your regularity of practice gets disrupted. So I opted out of that tour because the nationals was coming.
So I guess what you are trying to say is keeping a consistency in your practice automatically starts giving you performance?
Yes, I think it does. As I said, that is not the only thing, but consistency in practice definitely should be there. And that is also the quality of practice that you do. So, many people feel that if they play 6 hours a day or 5 hours a day, it's definitely not. The hard work is not proportionate. Success is something totally different. A lot of God's grace. But definitely, if you play quality, like I would play only for about say 1.5 or 2 hours a day in the morning. Mornings I was very regular, and morning evening was only before the nationals, say a month before the nationals or something. Otherwise, right round the year, I never played both 2 times. I only played once a day, and then I had to go to office, whether it was railways or whether it was union time.
Super. So, when you're saying, ma'am, on the training, you used to plan your training, or you know what you have to do in the morning and evening, and the quality which you are mentioning. Every time you are mentioning the quantity instead of quantity, quality is more important. So, when someone wants to do a quality practice, what has to be focused?
What has to be focused is number one, his weakness. You have to identify yourself, what you would like to improve, what are your weaknesses, and then practice accordingly. You may play forehand for some time, backhand for some time, movement for some time, alternate strokes for some time, whatever, everything. But some people feel that, well, if they play 6 hours a day, they'll play 1 hour only forehand, 1 hour only backhand. I'm talking of old days. I'm not talking of now, because as I said, I'm not in touch. And I don't know the technology and techniques now. But it is that what I feel is, if you play with full concentration for that much period of time, because obviously if you're playing 4 hours a day, you cannot have full concentration for 4 hours a day. Maybe some exceptional player, but as a normal person, it's not possible to keep that concentration for so long. So it's better to play for a shorter time with full concentration, where you see nothing but the ball and the table with no other distraction. That's what I mean by quality, and not mechanical, not playing mechanically, but playing with a definite thought that yes, today I will do this, or tomorrow I will do this.
So what you're trying to say is the mind and body has to be at the same place when you're practicing.
Yes, definitely.
So, ma'am, what was the biggest moment of your life in table tennis?
It was a long journey. Well, biggest moment you said?
Yes, biggest moment. Biggest moment.
Well, biggest moment would probably, of course, be beating the world champion.
Correct.
And then, of course, the time when we qualified from the second category to the first category in the world championship. I don't know about now, but those days we had the top 16 teams in Group A, and then the next 16 teams in Group B. And the first two of the second group would go into the first group in the next World Championship, and the last two there would come down. So that was when, again, that was in North Korea, where we topped our second group and got promoted to the first category. That I thought was a very big achievement, because competition is very, very tough. And then we won the World Railway Championship also. We had that in Czechoslovakia. And well, I think these three are the men, and of course winning so many Commonwealth medals.
Yes.
And even I would say coming fourth in the Asian Championship or Asian Games is also some achievement, because in some championships they give a medal to only the first three, and in some they give a medal to the first four, where both the semi-finalists get a medal. So I don't know how it is, but I think coming fourth in Asian Championship also I consider a good achievement, because you had China and Japan and Korea, and after that come fourth, I thought was very creditable.
Super, ma'am. What guidance you would like to give to players who are currently striving hard to achieve their goals? The upcoming players, young players.
Very difficult question to give advice. But well, I would say something first is, don't neglect your studies. Never neglect your studies, no matter what you are doing. And just play with all your sincerity and regularity. And that bears a lot of results. And for the parents, not to put pressure on the children, because for the children, as long as they are enjoying playing, it's all right. Because the moment you stop enjoying, the progress stops. Correct. So once there's too much of pressure from any side, the person automatically stops enjoying what he is doing. That thing should come from inside. That enjoyment thing, I would like to, if there is time, I would just like to narrate a small incident.
Yes, ma'am.
I was coaching in Thane many years ago, and we had a whole lot of nice children there. And there was one little boy, one day on my farewell function, when the camp ended. So one father came up to me and said, "Ma'am, what did you do to my little son? Because earlier I used to wake him up every morning, come on, let's go and practice. And he used to be crying, "Ki nahi utna hai, I don't want to go, I don't want to train," things like that. And now ever since you've come, he himself tells me at night, "Papa, please wake me up, I have to go for training." So what jadoo did you do to him? So I told the father, I said, what jadoo I did was that I never told him to come, or I never forced anybody to come. What I would say was that I'm going to have a physical training session in the ground, and those who want to come are welcome to come. Those who don't want to come, it's all right. So now this child, when it came from within his heart, when he himself voluntarily thought that, yes, when other children are going, why shouldn't I go? And that's how, he got motivated and he started coming. But earlier, when his father used to force him every day to chalo, you must go and train, he was rebelling.
Correct.
So that is what I mean. Unless that voice comes from inside and unless you are really enjoying what you are doing, you can't progress.
Correct. As you have also coached the Indian team in the Olympics, so what guidance you would like to share with coaches while designing program for players, or what type of mental attitude a coach should have with the players?
No, as I said, I'm not into this line. I'm not trained in this. Well, I was very fortunate to get a chance to go to the Olympics. And unfortunately, I had given up playing before that. And table tennis started in the Olympics in 1988. And I had already left in 1985. So I could not really play the Olympics, but I did get a chance to go to the Olympics as a coach of the table tennis team and as manager of the entire women's squad which went across all games. So I had this dual responsibility. And well, having just left the game, and I was more of a colleague with the players who were there at that time. And well, that's it. I have not ever been into professional coaching as such, though I have gone with the Indian team on a number of times. And what I find coaching is it should be individual based. And that was on my experience. As I said, I have not done any course or anything like that. So you take each player, see his weaknesses and strengths, and train him accordingly. There is no hard and fast rule across lines.
Correct. One last question from my side, ma'am. What is one biggest learning you had in the journey of sports, which you would like to share with all of us?
Learning.
What learning from sports?
Yeah, learning. So that's,
Yes.
I feel every child, sports has taught me a lot. I think every child should do sport, irrespective of what it is, because sport teaches you teamwork, it teaches you adjustment, it teaches you to face life with failures, to how to handle failures, and it gives you a lot of mental strength, which is, most of the people break down under pressure, but I think a sportsman is mentally much stronger. And
Correct.
you go through experiences of sharing and caring, adjusting to different circumstances, adjusting to food. Like when I started playing, we used to go second class, third class rather in those days, unreserved or reserved. And then different people come from different backgrounds. They may not have ever traveled third class. And then, you get adjusted to it no matter what the hardship. So that is, sport has taught me a lot to adjust to life, to handle failures, and to be keep equanimity and calmness no matter what the situation.
Super, ma'am. As you are aware that we have run a Guess Who online contest by displaying a picture of you playing of your playing days and asked the audience to guess the name of the person in the picture. And we received a lot of answers from across India, and out of which one lucky winner can ask a question of his choice to you during the live. So here is the winner of the Guess Who contest, and he will ask a question to you, ma'am. Can I run the contest? Can I run the question, ma'am?
Yes, yes, of course.
Hello, Bhushan and Indu Puri, madam. I am Shailesh Indapurkar, practicing company secretary from Pune. First, I would like to thank Bhushan Singh Thakur from Sports Champ team for arranging this amazing series on table tennis heroes from India. This will definitely help guide, motivate and inspire table tennis players from India. Bhushan will definitely ask all the table tennis questions to Indu Puri madam, but I would like to know from her, if not table tennis, what would have you done in your life which interests you the most other than table tennis?
So this was his question.
The most other than table tennis?
Yes.
Is that what he asked? I couldn't hear properly.
Yeah, ma'am. What interests you other than, if you're not played table tennis, then what interests you most, or what you would have done instead of table tennis?
I don't really know, because I think I was destined to become a sportsman, because I wanted to do medicine. I'm very fond of medicine. I wanted to do medicine, but because of my weak eyesight, my mother said, and I was eligible also for entering a medical college, but then I think there's too much of study in that, and so she said no. But by that time, I think I had already started playing table tennis, so I gave up everything. So that's a very difficult question. I really don't know what I would have done. I probably would have taken.
Yes. Okay, ma'am.
Sir, I'm not answering not what you expected, but I myself don't know what I would have done if I was not into sports.
Super, ma'am. That is the reason why you are holding so many records, because you knew what you have to do. So that is one line focus always helps you to take it to the next level. Super, ma'am. And thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time and agreed to share your life journey, which will definitely inspire and motivate many. Any final words, ma'am, from you to the audience before we log off?
I want to thank everybody for the respect and love they still shower on me. And well, thank you. As I said, I'm off sport totally. So it's a great pleasure coming on your studio and talking to you and talking to everybody. It's really given me a lot of happiness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And dear viewers, I hope you must have enjoyed the show and also learned from this episode. We'll keep on bringing such inspiring episodes which will guide many sportsmen in their journey of sports. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank